Welcome back, everybody, to episode 190 of the Lookout Podcast, and of course, the best and the worst of 2024 in anime. I'm, of course, Meelz. I'm here with LJ himself. LJ, what's up?
Wow, it's been a couple of weeks since y'all heard us both on the same episode.
Isn't that refreshing?
Mhm.
I feel
I
like it's
know I missed you.
as I do as you. Well, I heard you last week. That's why I'm like,
Well, it's different when it's not just and I get to see your face. You're doing it on
we're
video.
videos. And of course, we have AD here. AD, what is up?
What's going on? Coming off the bench again. It's a last week's episode was kind of fun. I ain't gonna hold you. Like I know Meals wasn't there. We tried to clean up the house a little bit.
Well,
Get things in
listen,
order.
but there's
He came back. We had no controversies.
not.
We didn't get canceled.
I feel like you can't. Oh, real quick, is Juan Soto shit kind of like blew everybody's mind. Shout out to you for still wearing the Yankee hat proudly, my guy.
Oh man, listen.
Talk,
Hey, listen, we fried Hive now. We
show,
off that. We got the airbender.
Hold on, we gotta say Freed, Max
Oh,
Freed. We
free.
gotta, we
Yeah,
gotta
no. Oh,
passing
we
the
the
torch.
freedmen. We the freedmen.
Yeah,
we the freedmen. Hey, that's where we at. I
and
thought fried eyes it sounded harder, but hey, no, we the freedmen. Okay, cool, we good. No, Juan Soto, he went across town to the losers. What I mean,
the Mets.
the
Mm.
Mets.
you. I'm sick for y'all. I'm sorry.
Listen,
Shout,
he's not in my division, so I don't have to I don't have to play meaningful baseball against him
mhm,
unless we meet them in the World Series.
gotcha.
Uh Pitching staff is getting better. I am sure that the Yankees will pull off a couple more moves before we get into spring training or, before pitchers and catchers report. I'm confident in this team next year. I'm confident in how we're going to look. So listen.
Shout out to you for saying that with a straight face. I love it. I love it for
I
you.
am no, I really am. Listen, Devin Williams is our closer now. We probably got the best, probably the second best top three rotations in baseball.
Oh, absolutely.
Like we fill out a couple gaps on the batting lineup. We're good.
And then last week,
Yankees, baby.
Knicks and Hawks went against each other. Y'all are slightly richer than us, just barely by a couple hundred.
Eh,
I
they
don't even
don't
know,
want to spend no money, bro. We just
but y'all
had the Knicks,
got.
the Hawks Bucks game, man.
Do y'all get 100,000? I think y'all get a hundred
I think we
thousand now.
yeah, I think we do get that, but
Yeah.
still, like.
Uh,
We roll the dice and there we lose. We got the Falcons there on Monday Night Football against the Raiders. So I mean, like that's another sick moment. And it's Desmond Ritter playing against us. So
listen, lots of
very sick
things.
behavior.
Oh my god. With that said, we're here to talk about the best and worst of anime in 2024. I want to get quick thoughts, just overarching thoughts. What would you say is the temperature on anime in 2024? Are we like, is it cold, a little warm? Are we hot? Like where are we at on the thermometer scale of like anime in 2024? Is it warm? How about this? Is it warmer than last year? Is it hotter than last year? Last year we had a couple things going on. I think last year I could actually pull up last year's best and worst list. Um, let's see. Last
Yeah,
year on
pull that up.
the I'm interested. Last year on the list we had Attack on Titan finale, JJK season 2, Hell's Paradise, Scott Pilgrim takes off, Zom 100, Shueisha pushing international manga indie things. In our worst, we had Tokyo Revenger season 2, which uh, Demon Slayer's Swordsmith Village arc, um, anime convention, which was interesting.
Oh
Um,
wow, we got some repeat offenders this year.
Peter, this year, how do you feel? I feel like so. I'll say this. I feel like this year I watched more anime than I did last year. I watch much more variety. I tried new things out. Like, when you talk about things like the solo leveling and we tried out the Suicide Squad isekai or isekai. I tried out. what was it, the Terminator, like so many different things that was just like, all right, since y'all making an anime out of it, might as well watch it. Um, there's some that I didn't like. There's some that I thought they were interesting, but overall, I think what I would say in this year probably missed like I'd say the biggest title of the year, and maybe this segues into the conversation, but the biggest title of the year I think is Dandadan. Would I be wrong in saying that? Like,
No, I think you're right. I mean, I think at the beginning of the year we definitely thought we thought that solo leveling was gonna kind of
Either that or
the
Kaiju
solo
number
leveling
8.
response.
right.
I felt solo leveling had a much bigger response than Kaiju number 8 for me.
Mhm.
Dandadan came out of I don't want to say come out of nowhere because it was a definitely anticipated anime, but it came and it definitely um yeah, kind of took over the game for a bit.
Yeah, yeah. So all right. So what would you say is the temperature compared to this year? Is it better than last
Oh,
year?
for me, yeah. Okay, I'll say for my own personal self as a fan.
I'm only
I probably
asking
yeah, as my own as
as
me. I'm
yes.
not talking about anime as a whole. For me, this is probably the coolest I've been on anime,
Mm,
like feeling wise. For majority of the year, I definitely near the end, the October, November,
hmm
watched a lot more that came out this year, and was like, wow, there was some good stuff. Well, story of the Dandadan Blue Box. This fall anime definitely for me.
Daima, yeah.
Yeah, Daima kind of carried a lot more anticipated stuff that I was looking for.
hmm
But no, for that first part of the year, it was kind of like, okay, cool. We got solo leveling. I think we went back a lot more. I definitely went back to watch some older stuff that I haven't seen this year. But for 2024 anime, for the stuff that just dropped this year, I was like, I was kind of cooler on it.
80, what about you? You're someone who waits until everything is done and then you watch it. Where did we
Yeah.
land with that?
I personally, like, because we read a lot more stuff too, or and we read a lot of Shonen Jump titles. For me, this was a lot warmer compared to last year. Like, of course, we had Solo Leveling, and that's like one of the premier webtoons that have come out within like the last few years that a lot of people have been pushing the hype for. And I think
Mhm.
it delivered. Kaiju number 8 was something big, but then you have some of the stuff in Shonen Jump that people don't really talk about, but they're finally getting an anime, like Elusive Samurai, Mission Yozakura Family. Those came out like towards like April through the summer type deal. And I
Mhm.
think those were really good, kind of underrated things, with Storia. And then we get into the fall with like Daima and Dragon Ball Bleach. It was a lot of things that I saw in Shonen Jump that really came out this year and was like, you know what, this is actually not bad. Like Shonen Jump, Shueisha, they've been pushing their titles really hard in the anime space, like a lot more than last year. So I think
Yeah.
like it's definitely a lot warmer compared to last year.
Let's get into the first topic, and I think you already kind of like low key transition into this. Let's talk about Dandadan because Dandadan, I would say, is probably the biggest launch, biggest. If there was a big new anime that kind of came out this year, I would say Dandadan is it, just based on kind of the marketing, based on the conversation, based on the kind of like everything around it. I'm still not fully sure. I mean, I get what the show is about, um, but it's kind of kooky in a way. But what makes Dandadan? What do you think makes Dandadan as popular as it was this year? Because to me, were people I don't know if I heard like, okay, it sold a lot of volumes. I don't think I heard that until the anime actually came out or the manga as it came out or people were reading it. Um, More so as like people knew what it was and were just excited for like what's behind it. So what do you think as AD, as someone who read the manga and kind of like you build the anticipation towards this? Like what did you kind of think about what made it the biggest one this year thus far?
I think if you read Dandadan and you're going through it, you kind of see they give you the art is really good in the pages and like the setup for all of the different pages and the story is more down to earth. All of those things come together really well. So for readers who are looking forward to, what could come to life with the anime. I think that was kind of the first initial thing. And then as we're getting these clips and you're seeing like the art direction and them promoting the material, even towards like the theatrical premiere for like the first 3 episodes. If you went and saw that, you also got a good look at the director interview that came out beforehand and how they did the process with the writer, the author, and how he prepared himself to write this story. And then you got the directors and everybody saying, hey, we really wanted all of these pages to come to life. We kind of see the direction. So I think that initial like theatrical release before the actual anime, in addition to like them saying, oh, we're simuldubbing this, like, when was the last time outside of like Netflix like shows, when was the last time you actually seen like an anime get
Look,
a simuldub?
they did it this year for 80% of it on another anime that we'll talk about, which isn't the best for this year, but they did it. But I would say those two
Hmm.
became successes of the year in terms of new anime for sure, and it's because of that simul-dub. Like, you
Hmm.
know, they put it on Netflix. It's ready to. You don't have to wait. Like, for instance, Blue Box. Still no idea when the fuck the dub is coming out. No idea who's dubbing it or who's the voice actors, who's anything. So no idea when that's coming out. Daima, I think it comes out in 2025, which is unfortunate. Because I don't think people will care by then. Um, but
And they got some no, some heavy hitters, some great people to do the dub for them.
yeah,
Yeah,
no,
yeah,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Dandadan dub is they're great, they're amazing, and the fact that it was so accessible just so readily, I think makes it adds to the appeal of it. You know what I'm saying? Especially when us Westerners, you know what I'm saying? Like people
yeah,
who are trying to get into anime, when you get on Netflix, for instance, because it's a Netflix exclusive thing, which is also a big part of it. Netflix is
Mhm.
a juggernaut, and they've been over the last number of years. We've talked about this on all of our best and worst lists to an extent. They've really been trying to like, listen, we're making anime something very prominent for us, and they're scooping up these titles. 2025, they got Sakamoto Days. Who knows what they're going to grab next? Um, I'm sure maybe the One Piece might be on Netflix. Who knows? But they've made a conscious decision to say, like, listen, we put it all in. They used the marketing dollars. It was all over conventions. It was all over Anime NYC. It was all over NYC Comic Con. They did the work, and they're now reaping the results because of it.
Also, too, Dandadan is like it's something different and it's something new.
mhm,
Like
hmm,
even the things that we may have on our best list, and there are some things that I really like this year that I watched. But at
sure.
the end of the day, if you compare it to a different shonen anime, they're very similar in
Yeah.
storyline. Some kid with weird hair who's just trying to be the best and the strongest,
Hmm.
making a friend out of the kid that really doesn't like him but secretly envies him. Like a lot of the tropes, a lot of storylines are very similar.
Uh-huh.
Um Dandadan doesn't feel that way. It feels very fresh. It feels very new. It feels like it feels like Odd Taxi in the way of when Odd Taxi dropped. It was just like such a breath of fresh air to have something that's completely different than kind of the day to day, the normal stuff that you're watching, all the popular stuff, and you're like, oh, this is actually a really good story, or like this is captivating me in a different way that I haven't really been, drawn into yet.
Absolutely.
And that's what Dandadan's doing. It's like you said, it's kooky and it's weird. It has some great moments. It's touching on some popular topics
Hmm.
and maybe popular themes, but they're doing it in a way that isn't like power levels and let's do this, like the
Right.
power of friendship and the typical, once again, the typical shonen stuff that I still love. Like I said, there's some things on here that we're going to talk about on our best list that end of the day, if you look at it toward or compare it to something else, the similarities are there. Like this just feels like it's something that's brand new and feels fresh.
For another best, we're gonna do another best, and then we'll go into a worst. This one is a fringe best to me, and we were just talking about this as we go on, as we went on air. But the return of it's fringe, but I think Dragon Ball's return this year, especially in the wake of Akira Toriyama's Sort of Death. Why I say Sort of Death? He's died, unfortunately.
Sort of death.
He's not dead, bro. He's still living on. Come on.
He living through us. He's living through the
Yeah.
Lookout podcast.
We got really going. You know what I'm saying?
He hit the Tupac on us. He in Cuba.
He's a, but Dragon Ball Daima, I put this as a fringe best because there's parts of it that I think is not good. But I put this as best because one, this is a podcast inspired by Dragon Ball. And two, it's literally the first new Dragon Ball series that kind of like come back. What would you say is the best things about Daima thus far since we've been uncovering this series like 10 episodes in?
That it got that sense of adventure back. We going to new worlds, baby.
Yeah.
Like, we get introduced to new things. We're touching on some different stuff. Like, yeah, we're back in the world building. It's not just us. Where's the strongest person at?
Like, it's still
Goku
there, but
kicking
at the
in the
same
door.
time, like, it's still there, but it's also like we're also fleshing out the other themes and other subjects that, you know, were introduced in Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, and like kind of building upon that. So it's things that we knew but like didn't really know, and it's like more backstory, more adventure, like about that. So like, you know, it's
The reason why it's fringe for me is largely because of like, while Dragon Ball Z kind of like stands in a place of its own, if I compared this to most other anime this year, it probably wouldn't even crack the top 10, to be honest with you. I think because of the pacing of it, while as a fan of Dragon Ball, we love the story, we love the world building, we love the new things uncovered, we love Majin Buu, you know what I'm saying? We love all that stuff. But in terms of like watching it as an anime week to week, it doesn't keep me on the edge of my seat at all, which is something like at the bare minimum you expect from anime kind of today. You talked about it last week. There's like the third, fourth gag where they blow up the ship and they got to get another ship, and it happened again this week. So it's what it is.
Hey, let's keep the running. It's like when Kimmy dies at the end of every South Park episode. Like, you blow the ship up.
It's not,
Blow the ship up.
but like it's
They
way.
kill Kenny.
When are they gonna do things? I think in this climate, you can't. You have to move it a little bit. While the adventure is definitely awesome and it's nostalgic, you still have to move with a sense of urgency and sort of like really hitting these like big strong points at certain points in the show for people to be really tuned in. I said it 2 weeks ago. I was like, this might be a show better binged if you have nothing to do than one watch on a weekly basis, because you don't really feel the um, you don't really feel like the intrigue, the intensity, the things like happening week to week from Dragon Ball Daima. So this one was fringe, but I'm never gonna go against Daima. It also came out with Sparking Zero. Sparking Zero was massive. It was huge for like 2 weeks. But it was
It was a great 2-week run. That 15, that's a legit 15 minutes of fame.
yeah, no, it came and it went, but it was when it was here, it was amazing.
Oh man, listen, Linsanity. You got the zero spark insanity.
I exhausted all of my YouTube watching of it, and then I was like, okay, I guess it must be finished. But the what ifs, all the other things, like Sparking Zero was a great moment. Dragon Ball Z just had a great moment this year. Hopefully the manga comes back. We'll talk about that in a bit. But Dragon Ball, great moment this year. Let's get into a worst. Once the police siren stop.
that's the worst. That's the alert.
It just is.
It's
What?
they're the unofficial co-hosts.
Absolutely. One of the worst. Let's talk about Ninja Kamui.
Ooh, that was bad. That was bad business.
When you think of like this legitimately, I'll leave it to AD to kind of like give the final verdict, because you're someone who's like, you see
AD always finds the good in everything. He
Yeah.
finds the yin and the yang.
good in this, but Ninja Kamui was nah.
That was
You know, once you bring in
that was a
mecha,
big pack of ass.
yeah, it started out. I don't even know how it started. I guess it started out with potential, but then it kind of wasted all of everyone's time, is what I would say. AD, what are your thoughts on Ninja Kamui if you watch it?
I ain't gonna hold you. I didn't. just because everybody was like, "This is a 2-pack of ass," and I'm like, "Damn!"
Well,
like,
listen, as a person who did watch it, and I watched every episode because I held on hope. It sold us a dummy brick in those first couple episodes. You're like, okay, ninjas,
Yeah.
The no CGI really. It was a lot of hand to hand, and as soon as the mecha aspect got introduced, it went downhill.
It
sounds like Yasuke.
Yes, it's the Yasuke of this year for sure.
Yeah, and I think that we just got to stop the whole let's mix mecha with with ninjas and let's make robot like it hasn't worked in a couple tries. The last couple tries. We need to lay it to rest. But no, Ninja Kamui. I mean, Adult Swim in general right now. I love them.
Want to talk about Uzumaki since you're here?
Yeah, we're already here. Like, I think Adult Swim in general.
They got I don't know what they've been doing for the past year.
I think the issue is that they have been over promising and under delivering.
Talk about it.
You get the trailers, you get the names. You're like, oh shit, they got this really weird, obscure thing that like oddly a lot of people love. You're kind of like, okay, cool. What are they gonna do with it? And they get it. Then they're like, oh, here's a trailer. Here's a trailer for the trailer. Here's a trailer for the next episode, and here's a sneak peek and a snippet. You're like, oh shit, like they got it. And they dropped the first episode. And the first episode was like, oh shit, this is crazy. Maybe the second episode, you're starting to see a little dip. And by the third episode, you're like, okay, what the fuck is this? Like, this is nothing that I wanted.
From what I heard, so I didn't watch it. It was pretty much like the first episode was amazing, and then the second episode was one of the worst pieces of shit that I've ever seen. That's I'm
gonna let y'all finish. I'm gonna just say Adult Swim. Let me write a story. I got something for y'all. Let us on to them. Let us get the kid.
Man, it's just I don't know. It's just a little frustrating. It's definitely just a little frustrating. I think that, and I don't think it's always their fault. Essentially, I know that the Uzumaki thing, like it was a studio dispute, whatever thing.
Sure.
I think Ninja Kamui was just a dummy brick. Like I think it just fell flat. It fell down. Lazarus is next up, and that's next year. And Lazarus is the one that I'm just like, all right, we've all been waiting for this one. I'm time to be back. I'm talking like they bring out the heavy hitters. We got to see what that I think this is like their final straw essentially.
Sure.
Like Lazarus is that's their final hoorah, because I don't know what can they do if they blow Lazarus and that looks horrible or feels horrible, it just falls flat. We're gonna have to have some real discussions. I mean, we probably have to have a discussion now, but Lazarus is what I'm putting my money in that pot, and if I go broke on this one.
AD, what you got?
I mean, I'm right there with LJ on that one, like with Lazarus especially, because like what could possibly go wrong? Like what?
Don't say that. There's so much that can go wrong. Oh my god, there's so much that can go wrong.
Bro, like what could go wrong? Anything. It's that.
I mean,
we thought the same for Uzumaki. And they couldn't even lock down a studio for an entire season. They locked down a good studio for one episode.
I mean, all right, like all I'm gonna say is like all of these fantasy stories and all of these like things that they got going on, like
Carter, if you need a GoFundMe, please take that approach. Don't just throw it at any fucking studio ever. But yeah, that looked nuts to me. I never watched it, but it looked nuts from what I saw on the internet. I felt like the internet felt it was nuts. Going back to the best this year, let's talk about Kaiju number 8 and the release of it. Second big anime of the year. I think it came out, what was it, spring?
Yeah.
Came out in the spring. I like the release of this because one, simuldub, big thing. We just talked about it. Very, very important. Two, it was somehow premiered on X or Twitter or whatever it is, which I never watched,
Yeah.
but it did. It premiered the same time. I think the show premiered in Japan. Um, so that was great as well. Four, and what cannot be understated, if Dandadan didn't come out, I would say this has one of the best opening themes in anime just in general. I thought the the use of what's my man's name? Because I think One Republic does the last one. They did it was what's that band from 2013? Oh my god. Um fuck. Uh what's that band from 2013? But even though I like the song, it's
Wasn't it one? You said One Republic did the other song, right?
yeah, did the other song. The One Republic does the ending theme. Oh no, the first one is presented by Young Blood. Why did I think it was the niggas from 2013 who did that shit with Kendrick? Uh Kendrick.
Imagine Dragons.
Yeah, why did I think it was them? Whatever.
Talking about Imagine Dragons.
Yeah, fantastic opening, bro. Like fantastic. I think just the approach to this, from what it looked like when we initially got those things. Remember when they were all like 3D models, low-key like little 3D models, and we were like, I don't know about this. This is about to look like some bullshit. I think they came around, and I think they delivered a very solid series moving forward. I think Kaiju number 8. It sounded great. As someone who's an audiophile like me, I can notice when they put a budget in the sound, the music, all the other things. You play it on your speakers, it sounds like a movie. Um, it looked great. I think it had a great pacing. I think it had great action. I think it told a great story. Um, I would say Kaiju number 8 is one of the winners this year. Um, I'm not sure if it picked up any major popularity for the manga. It probably did. Which we'll talk about the manga on the manga side of this thing. But it was really, really good this year. What do you guys think about Kaiju number 8?
Yeah, I think it's one of the most anticipated ones that we've had, and it absolutely delivered, like from beginning to end. I think people are for a lot of people who are interested in like the older stories. I think us as older anime fans, that's one of the things that we can appreciate about it because it's an older MC. There's an older cast of MCs. It's not just teens anymore, you know. So I think that's one aspect of it, and all of these characters coming to life in this aspect and telling that story of, hey, I might be having like a quarter midlife crisis or whatever like that, but my life isn't over and I can still keep pushing forward type deal. I think that's one of the things that a lot of people who are older anime fans can gravitate towards, and it kind of can inspire the younger anime fans. You know, the action is great in all of the scenes. You know, the comedy is underrated, you know. So that's one of the things about it. So I think that just people getting to experience Kaiju number 8 as a whole is probably just one of the better things about this year.
LJ, any thoughts? Did you get to watch it?
No, I didn't finish the season because I have really bad watching habits. Netflix ruined me. I gotta binge everything. As soon as I start waiting week to week, I get bored. But no, from what I saw, and honestly, just a response and reading it, knowing what it is, it did what I thought it was gonna do. I mean, even when me and AD would do Big Eyes and talk about Kaiju number 8, it's an anime, like it's gonna be really good. And it doesn't surprise me that it has done as well as it has in terms of popularity, and just the product in general is just a really good product.
Right.
I think Meelz, what you're talking about, too, of the part of the reason for its success is just the easiness of accessibility for Western fans.
Yeah.
90% of, like, listen, regardless of what the conversation may look like online, 90% of us is watching a dub.
Yeah.
And so it's like to automatically appeal to that it helps. It just makes it helps. It makes the watching process easier. It makes it a more fun like experience. Like and taking advantage of different avenues. Dropping it on X was, or Twitter when it dropped, like genius move.
Yeah. I think
What
it's
other way can you get more eyes on an anime at one time than just putting it on one of
right.
the biggest
And
platforms?
and premiering it when it premieres in Japan, because then is really not taking advantage, but I think understanding the community that you have and understanding like the watching habits of the community that you have. You know what I'm saying? Some people do watch when it's first premiere. Like, remember when all the Attack on Titan premieres used to come out? People used to find the feed of wherever it was in Japan and would watch the episode undubbed and kind of like figure out where it was, and then they would, thing, and then we would get it a couple hours later. But this was they understood the assignment with this one. I think Kaiju number 8 and the release of it, the again, playing up the intro and outro, having Young Blood, having One Republic, having that kind of thing, it's easy to assimilate to Western fans, especially if you know that the series is going to be popular with Western fans just as much as it is in Japan. So really good release. Let's see. I have one. This is a dual best and a dual worst. So let's start with the worst. It is the Hashira training arc in Demon Slayer. This is the second worst in a row for Demon Slayer this year. We are not, well, they took an arc that was it wasn't filler. They took an arc which was maybe 2 or 3 chapters and extended it to 8 episodes. I get it, but also no one watched it except me apparently. And I watched
The jig is up. The jig is up.
The jig is up. The jig is up, essentially. It's the worst of this year. Realistically, a series where nothing happens for a long, long time in this series, and then you extended another set of episodes where nothing happens. The only saving grace of this season, which I'm putting in the best category for this, is the final episode of the Hashira training arc, which is essentially the intro to the movie. If you needed a trailer for what this movie was going to be, the final episode of Demon Slayer is it. And Loki, it might be the final episode of Demon Slayer. Who knows? Because I don't know if they're going full
No,
movie.
hell no. Listen, they're gonna definitely chop that movie up into some episodes.
Yeah,
Add some little extras.
We're milking this to
it.
2030.
Yeah, nah, for sure. But that final episode where essentially Muzan kills Ubishiki or whatever it is, kills the head of the Hashiras, and they begin the war in the Infinity Castle, and essentially it parlays into like what the film is supposed to be. The first part, I think there's 2 films coming out, right?
3.
3? That's fucking Christ. So expect this over the next 3 years, maybe even 4 or 5. The sheer training arc, the Infinity Castle arc, we're gonna get the movie, but the final episode was a fantastic. If there's anything I tell you to watch, because I'm not gonna tell you watch the first 7 episodes for sure. Unless you want the 3-minute sequence of Muzan walking into the castle, which they somehow extended to 3 minutes of him just walking. That final episode is amazing. It deserves a watch. It's multiple minutes long. Another best. Loki, another best. Let's do a quick best. Anime episodes longer than 22 minutes. Because
Yeah.
the Daima episode at the beginning, perfect pacing. The Demon Slayer episode at the beginning, perfect pacing. I'm not sure if there's any other anime that did over that kind of runtime, but it insanely helps with what it's supposed to be. And it immediately presents it as a much bigger deal. If you're like, okay, there's gonna be 32 minutes of Dragon Ball, this must be a big fucking deal. So that's a low-key best for the year. But Demon Slayer gets a best and a worst. I'm putting in mostly the worst category because it was a big waste of fucking time. But it is what it is. Another worst, the anime arc movie trends. We get it. You know what I'm saying? If you can see this on video, I'm doing something with my hands. We get it. The money. We get it. There's no reason why they showed the first 3 episodes of Daima in the movie theaters after they already premiered, or we were already on episode 6. Dandadan, I guess if it was going to premiere on Netflix,
So
which is the price of admission for a movie anyway.
the only saving grace for Dandadan is that the interview with the directors and all of that stuff. That's the only thing. But otherwise, yeah, I'm right there with you.
Did they?
But they need to go ahead and put it out.
They put it on YouTube, bro. Like, go ahead.
I'm in agreement. It's just it's a money grab. We obviously know that, but at this point, I'm gaining nothing from it.
It's nice to have more anime things in theaters, right? But I feel like there needs to be a lot more original arcs in theaters. You know what I'm saying? Like, was it Look Back?
Look Back was great.
Even though they put it on Amazon very quickly, I was like, all right, well, let's get some money from this. But they put it on Amazon very quickly. There's a new My Hero film this year. I didn't go see it. I don't even know what happened, to be honest.
It was so good. I should have put that on the best.
That was actually
that was definitely
good.
the second. That was the second.
It was actually kind of good.
That movie was a banger.
That was actually really good.
Y'all make me look terrible.
That should have been on the best. My bad for forgetting that. My Hero releases the best movie since the first one.
My Hero, we got My Hero talk. Even though I'm pretty sure no one else watched it but me. But the Haikyuu and all these other things, like, it's good to have anime movies in theaters, and I think it's just great to be able to support them. But the meaningless, what seemingly cash grabbiness of it all is not sexy to me at all. It's actually kind of like, I don't know. It just seems desperate.
It's mainstream now, and I get it. It's anime is a real entity now.
Yeah,
you're gonna make money from it. Like, there's probably a time where it was straight to DVD because no theater would ever want to take the risk of showing an anime movie and it not really doing the numbers unless it was some real big name like Pokemon.
This is still a very exploitative practice.
It is for sure. I'm not saying that is right. I'm just saying and they're finally in a moment where they can do it, and they're just like, all right, we can. Like, it's not the same Studio Ghibli movie marathon that they do every 2 months, where they're showing Spirited Away.
Yeah. And again, we don't have to go, right? But
just we don't.
The practice of it all is pretty exploitative,
I think for us as people who have been watching anime for a while, definitely been in the space for a while, I think a lot more of these things are for more newer anime fans. Like, why not kind of create this spectacle for them? And I think it's nice that they get that experience. I think for us, once again, us have been able to watch it, like, we see kind of through it, where it's kind of like, all right, like, I'm not really gaining much. But I think it's cool that they're doing it for the bigger names. I think it just goes a lot into the marketing. I feel it's, for younger, newer people who are trying to get into anime, I'm sure that this is a kind of a fun experience. Or kind of like, oh, okay, like, this is what this is going to be about. And like, it feels more like, oh man, and we get more of this after. So, but I do agree. I think it's time for us to, I think we need to start pushing more just original works. Let's just, no reason to rerun the art. Let's just do the original works.
Well, yeah. Speaking of original works that happened in theaters, we got another best here, which comes The Boy and the Heron. By Hayao Miyazaki, an Academy Award. It is the second anime to receive a anime award. Again, another one produced by Studio Ghibli. I think it's been like 20 years since the previous one, which was for Spirited Away. But shout out to it winning Best Animated Film. It won it over the Spider-Man film, which I think the critics
shouldn't have.
But I feel like
it should have. I'm sorry. I know this is on the best. I know this is on our best.
Sure.
And Miyakazi's my man's. That's my guy. Shout out to the real Moody and Broody fellas. That movie was so mid. That movie was so whack. It was a snooze fest. Like, I'm sorry. he won that straight off aesthetics. Like that was a swag award. He got a swag award. Like this had the most swag. Like that's why he got it.
He beat Elemental, which is a Pixar film.
That was actually a good movie too.
He beat Nimona, which was a science fantasy action film. Looks pretty good. Robot Dreams, which is a Spanish-French co-production. Ooh la la. The film follows an unusual friendship between a dog and a robot in New York City in 1984. Hey man, listen. It's a tragic comedy. This doesn't sound good. It sounds like an anime.
Why that sound like that Futurama backstory with Fry and
that sounds like a Miyazaki film. That's a Miyazaki film right there.
And of course, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse.
I don't know how it beat that. Spider-Man.
You know what? Did The Boy and the Heron have any black people in it?
No.
There you go.
They had Batista in it. And voice acting.
Batista. Listen. Batista, Academy Award winning Batista. So that is that.
Spider-Man. Spider-Man squashes that easy money.
Flag award or not, I feel like more anime stuff should be nominated at the Academy, especially for Western things. Like, there's anime that's leagues better than the shit that we see on television or in.
No, I think for sure, especially for like Emmys and daytime TV stuff. Yeah, like anime should definitely be racking up there.
Absolutely. So speaking of that and stuff that was a snooze fest, they thought they could get away with this because this actually came out the day after we did this thing, but they couldn't get away from this. We're including it in this year, even though it was definitely last year. The Yu Yu Hakusho live action film. Boy, we talked about it earlier this year, right? So we talked about it. We have a whole episode about it. I don't even think LJ remembers we talked about this.
But damn, we did, huh?
We sure the fuck did, because I remember I was like, I don't really like this. I didn't like it at all.
I think it was good enough.
No, it wasn't.
It was good enough. It was okay enough for me to not hate it. I don't mind it being put on the worst. It's definitely not going to be the best, and obviously
they killed.
It was so for
the movie. It's not fucking fire at all, bro. Like they had fight Toguro to be able to thing it and all this other shit like that. Like this shit was so ass, bro. On Metacritic, I got an average 70 out of 100, which is kind of wild. Because
AD's face is killing me right now.
This shit
man, that the best episode was the first episode, and that shit went straight into the toilet. I'm sorry.
He got hit by that car, and we were like, "Oh my god, look how realistic that car! He got hit by that car." Got to tune into this, and people. It didn't follow the same thing. It was kind of whack. So shout out to whoever directed it, which was whatever, Netflix. I'm just gonna say Netflix.
Man, no, shout out to costume design. Shout out to the costume design, because y'all can't talk bad about that. The actual designs of the characters and the clothes they were wearing were tough.
Well, Netflix trying to do his thing this year. That might be another. Well, that's definitely in our other best. So I like this because it's flowing. It's nice. We're flowing into this thing. Netflix is another best this year. It entered the anime race outside of Yu Yu Hakusho, which got the staying out of that mouth. Or staying out of our mouths was that they brought what they have Terminator this year.
Mm-hmm.
You remember? I like Terminator for the most part.
They have the Tomb Raider, John.
Tomb Raider thing. You watch it, OJ?
Yeah, Tomb Raider was really good.
Okay.
Tomb Raider might have been better than Terminator.
That's good. I thought Terminator was solid. It wasn't great.
It was really solid.
What else?
Yeah,
they
going crazy.
They got
one of my favorites.
All the One Piece stuff.
What's that thing that you made us watch this year? That was like 20 minutes, 80.
Oh, Monster.
Yeah,
with the Zoro ancestor backstory, that was actually not bad. One of my favorite things that came out from them also was Rising Impact. It's a golf anime. Pretty good. Yeah.
You wear this, LJ? Is it golf anime on you?
Yeah, no. AD told me to watch it when I was going on my There's no good sports animes ran in the chat one day.
Gotcha.
I was in there complaining.
Uh, has anyone watched Ranma 1/2?
Yes, Ranma is really
I haven't
good.
yet.
It's really, really good. I know that it's a remake, but they're definitely putting their time and energy into that one.
I think is Beastars Netflix.
Oh
Stuff?
yeah, it's the
Beastars is
final season
Netflix.
just dropped.
Okay, it's Netflix up. Listen, it's looking slow for Crunchyroll. Crunchyroll is not slow, but if you improve the UI, you might get a few more watches out of B. But if it's on Netflix, I'm gonna choose Netflix over you every time. I'm just keep it a buck.
They had the Gundam, the new Gundam series that came out.
Yeah.
I think that did Kengan wrap up this year? No. What was it that came out this year? It was the final
Kengan.
season of something this year that came out.
Mm.
But essentially though, they are doing really great. And not even just with like the pure anime stuff, like even some of the like anime adjacent cartoon animation things.
Yeah.
They were going crazy this year.
Yeah, they get Blue Box, they got Dandadan, they got a whole other things. You can watch Hunter x Hunter on it, you could watch Hajime no Ippo. You could pretty much watch a bunch of good anime on here. So Netflix, shout out to you for investing in anime. It wasn't the only ones. I mean, when we went to Anime NYC, there was big boots for Hulu, there was big boots for Crunchyroll, there's big boots for Netflix. There was a lot more people are investing in anime on a much more frequent basis. So that is dope to see. Let's talk about this new one that I have not watched, but y'all swear by, Wistoria, Wand and Sword. It's one of the best of our year. What makes it one of the best?
I'm gonna let LJ take it because
No, you got it, because you're the one that put me onto it. You're the one that's like, no, you need to watch it.
so here's the thing, right? It's one of those it's a fantasy anime. It's like if you know what Black Clover is,
where do I watch it first?
You watch it on Crunchyroll.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
That
but it's
all
all
dubbed. Shitting on their UI and all that other stuff. You gotta go there to go watch it.
They still got some gems in there, you know.
One of the best of the year, the $11 that I got back from Crunchyroll. How about that?
Hey, lawsuits. Good total case. You know what I mean?
We'll go off.
Going straight back to him. But no, it's one of those fantasy anime. It's kind of like it's somewhere in between Black Clover and Mashal in the sense that, like, you know, the main character does not have magic or anything like that, so he has a physically fit body. He's trying to enroll in this school, and people are shitting on him because he doesn't have magic. And so once people actually recognize, oh shit, this nigga not bad. Like, how are you holding back? Like, what kind of person are you? Are you a demon or whatever like that? The animation is nice. It feels very My Hero in some aspects, especially with the music when everything gets tense. It's just one of those anime that you probably, if you didn't like Black Clover, if you didn't like Mashal, or if you know, somewhere in between those two, I think it's something that you could check out. You know, third time's a charm. This might be the hit for you. Yeah, it's definitely one of those ones that you probably shouldn't sleep on.
It's one of those ones that I was talking about earlier, where I was just like, are a lot of the tropes and themes and everything very repetitive? Yes. Do they sexify it in a way where I'm like, you know what, this is more enjoyable? Yes. It's just there's something about the it's about the presentation. When I say sexify, I'm just like the presentation is just sexier.
Anime, it's just like sexier in nature, or sexier just like it looks sexier.
It looks sexier. Like, not sexier in nature. It's just more like it just looks sexier. It looks like sleeker.
If you put this in theaters, you might be like, oh, this kind of nice, you know, like,
you know, like listen, it's like an American muscle car and a European sports car. Black Clover is the American muscle. It eye-wise is not as appealing to me.
Yeah.
Because it feels like this thing could only go in a straight line very fast and be really loud. Like the other one, I'm just like, okay, there's some curves here. You know, I could brake and turn and do all these, like, they're both high-powered machines, but one just, to me, is just more appealing, visually more appealing to me. The story just feels more appealing. it feels like it actually has a bit of like some type of like Harry Potter aspect to it. Even when you look at the design of the main character, you think about his relationship with his teachers. You know, in the final episode, you figure out there's some type of hidden secret behind him and his actual power. You know, so it's for me, that was just my draw to it, where I was like, okay, this feels more, you know, I'm more enticed by this than something like a Black Clover or a Mashal, where they're not bad at all. Once again, they all deal with the same tropes and they deal with the same themes. There's so many similarities between the two in terms of this actual story, but one just presents it in a way where I'm just like, I would rather watch this. I don't know why. I don't, you know,
I could
it's
take
just
this a
something
lot more
about
seriously.
you know.
Did anyone watch Bleach this year? New Bleach?
I've been watching it. Like I've been tapped in just a little bit to it.
Is it the best?
Huh?
Is it the best or the worst? Like, where do we put Bleach?
It's one of the best. No. It is one of the best. They got the better things about it is that they're fleshing out a lot of the details from the manga, and we're getting into a point where when the manga first released and you hear about like hiatuses or authors getting sick and they have to like wrap the story up, so they got to like cut certain details or whatever like that. So we're getting into that point of the storytelling, but because they're actually taking their time a little bit more with releases, you can see the expansion of details and how they're taking care of certain characters, certain fights, and you know, certain themes and everything like that. And plus they got the actual theater team, whoever makes the movies for like you know, Naruto and all of the Studio Pierrot, they're working on Bleach Thousand Year Blood War arc. So like it feels like a movie condensed, the way that you would want your movie teams to like release episodes. This is the way to do it. Like we complain about it like that with like Demon Slayer and everything like that, but this is how you should do that type of thing.
Absolutely.
I think that even if I didn't watch it, the pure conversation around it and how I just see the impact of it this year, it gotta be on the best. Like Bleach has been, there's been a focal point for sure. And I think this whole blood like arc, it has captivated not only their old fans and the people who've been waiting, but definitely been an entry and a gateway for new fans too.
Absolutely. Let's clear up a few more of these worst, and then we'll get into the best, and then we'll kind of like wrap this up. One of the worst we have, I mean, isn't this a worst every year? Racism. You know what I'm saying? They ran the voice actor of Dandadan. I mean, I don't know if you ran them off Twitter. No one's really using Twitter like that anymore. But Mr. AJ Beckles received a lot of blowback for liking essentially a artwork of a fictional character which he voices that are Black, and he stood up for the artist, who's 16-year-old, who's awesome, and essentially led to a bunch of blowback, led to people wanting his job, letting people say you need to be kicked off the series for not respecting it, and all this other stuff like that. And now he is off Twitter, which I don't really blame him, to be honest with you. Like, Twitter's kind of ass. But again, this is everything. It's similar to even the Bleach thing last year with unironically his fiance, and I used to had to go through where she took over for, oh my god, what's the girl's name? I have not seen Bleach in forever. The Black woman in Bleach.
Oh, Yoruichi.
Yeah, and took over for that voice actor, and then the voice actor came and was like, actually, I am the voice of Yoruichi, and I should be. So they had to give it to her back. But you know, it's once again you would hope it's a community that would be all encompassing, just because of how much now these days how much Black influences are brought into the anime world. That there would be more openness from the other side, or just from general people, or just from people on the internet who are kind of, but you know what? We're living in a new age. And because of everything that happened over the last month or so, I'm not surprised if more stuff like this happens. But you know what? Let's be a community amongst ourselves, and let's continue to work amongst ourselves. if there are no more thoughts on that, another worse anime conventions.
Run it back. We got repeat offenders.
Anime NYC was solid this year actually because it was in the summer, but the press was ass. The press was terrible. I've never seen like having to go through a worse press process 2 years in a row. That doesn't even make me want to apply for press next year. Um, but I did get to host a panel, so that was pretty dope.
Yeah.
One of the
saw,
best.
yeah, saw LJ, so that was dope. Shout out to Steve Bloom, by the way. What? Like, come on. So that was pretty dope. 80, you just came from an anime convention. What are the good things, the bad things, the experience? How was it?
Well, one of the bad things about it, I talked with one of the press managers about certain situations because we have some interviews that we're going to post very soon with some very prominent voice actors. Some clips are going to be coming up, but overall, the press process, while it was good from the convention side, I learned some details about the agencies and the people who allow us to do these interviews, and it just seems like the agencies are more of the issue. Like, I don't want to get into too many of the details, but
Sure.
just the it's always a money thing, man. It's always a money thing when it comes to these certain things when we're trying to get things done. And I just, I kind of hate it when we want to bring a lot of great content to, all of the watchers and all the fans, and we just kind of can't do that in the ways that we would like to. But another worst thing, I don't know if y'all been seeing me do this in the background, but I've also been getting sick. Like, you got Dayquil, cough drops. I don't like it. Fuck that shit. Niggas get you sick at a con after a while.
Mask up at the con, bro. Like,
Mask up at the con.
That's messed up. What else did we have for the worst this year? I mean, that might be the worst. Let me see what we had on the other list. We had what was the other list? This is the stuff for manga. That might be the worst for this thing. Some more of the best. Let's just kind of like go through them. You have Megan Thee Stallion. Shout out to her for again major proponent in sort of anime and stuff like that.
Oh my gosh, we're typical men, aren't we?
Well, no, that doesn't.
I mean, she got what you call it? She got Adam on.
She definitely deserved it for sure. But I'm just saying, we some typical niggas. Like, hey, we gotta throw the baddie on the best list, no matter what.
But I mean, like, she got the voice of Yuji on one of her songs. She got
named Boa.
Hey, Watashi Wasta.
Song, yeah. Hot girl. You doing it big for the?
Did she present at the Crunchyroll Awards too?
She sure did. She sure held. Listen, another strong proponent in the anime community. Shout out to Megan Thee Stallion. Let's see, what else do we have here? Well, I haven't done this because I know no one else watched it but me, and I hate talking about it by myself. But My Hero Academia season 7 was fucking amazing. And
no, they killed it. Hey, listen, Tony Stark All Might.
Did you watch?
Yes, I did. I watched it after you said I wouldn't watch it. Not because I had to prove a point.
I love that because that's what works. 80 though. 80 is like he's like, I'm gonna watch
I watched the movie, but like hey,
the movie is low key kind of what maybe finish up the season because I was just like, man, this is too hard. But no, man, listen, Iron Man All Might is the best thing, one of the best things to happen this year.
It is. Listen, to me, so many of the best episodes of the series are in this season. Just again, we talked about it last year of them wrapping kind of things up, and we're going to talk about it again this year on the manga list of them just kind of wrapping it up in general. But the way they did the Todoroki arc, the way they handle the my god, Ochako and what's my name?
T
starts with H.
Toga. No, wait.
Toga, yes, Toga Himiko.
Yeah, Toga, yeah.
So where they handle that, the way they handle the war, the way they handle the traitor thing, like every week, amazing television for me. I thoroughly enjoyed it. So I can't wait for the next season, which comes out hopefully next year. To
They
kind of
probably
like,
did. No, they
yeah,
went crazy though. They really did. This felt so much better than reading it.
they stepped it up. They heard the shit about the story. They stepped it up. They heard everything about everything, and they stepped it up. Can't even be mad at
No,
it.
they did for sure. They
Uh,
they absolutely erased some sins for themselves.
absolutely. And the final thing, again, it's gonna be a best for pretty much a long time. I mean, it's a best for me. This is the year I truly dived into One Piece, but One Piece is obviously continuing to be one of the best things this year. One of you guys wrote in One Piece animation. Please talk about it. And I know
The gods have blessed us with some great animation for One Piece after 25 years, brother. I'm just saying. Listen, we got the greatest fights in Egghead coming out this year.
mm-hmm.
Oh man, the
Egghead, I haven't got up to it obviously, but it looks great.
yeah, that was also another thing with at least Netflix. They decided to, they're backfilling, but they said, you know what, we're gonna simul release Egghead arc in on our, with Crunchyroll or whatever, and we're still going back and adding in more episodes to kind of like fill out everything in between. But just the fact that like the animation has gotten this good, and we're now getting was it Garp versus Aokiji? If you've seen that fight, it is probably the best fight. I want to see if we'll get into it this week. With Subslide Dubslide, but that is probably the one of the better fights in recent years for One Piece. Just that entire arc in general has been just nonstop. We got Shanks versus Kid. Um, yeah, and they took a hiatus. The One Piece fan letter art was great. Like the kind of like the break wrap up. Like you said earlier, Monster, that was pretty good. It's just we're in a time where One Piece animation can't be like on the slander list. It's at this point, it's still too long. That's probably it. But they're even going back and doing like Fishman Island redubbing now and like cutting all the fillerness out of it. So like
Which is
we're
where
in a
I'm at.
different time.
I'm at. I One Piece has been great for me. Again, we did it for Summer at Kame House. We kind of like blew it out and made it a whole thing. But just getting through it and understanding why you guys love it as much as you do and why it's as great as it is by going through the Water 7 saga has only pushed me to watch more of One Piece and pushed me to get more involved within the lore and kind of the story and all the other stuff like that. So One Piece has been doing beyond the animation. I mean, and then we got the cast reveal for season 2. Season 2, I think it was expected this year. I could be wrong.
I think it's going into like late next year. Like,
Yeah, I
I,
think it's gonna come out Christmas next year. Uh,
yeah.
so we got the cast for that. Everyone is beautiful. Everyone is amazing. Everyone is well casted. We're supposed to get. Is Jamie Lee Curtis still involved, or she was supposed to be involved and then she didn't?
She was supposed to be involved, but I think
Just
she couldn't do it off of a
Yeah,
scheduling conflict, right?
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Um.
I'm
So
sure they'll find a way to get her involved somehow.
yeah, but it's even that again. The One Piece, which is supposed to come out again, it's this newly reanimated take on One Piece and stuff like that. So One Piece again, if there's a anime brand that's still doing the damn thing at a very high level, and it's only gotten more popular as this year's gone on, it's One Piece. Um, I would love to say Pokemon, but Pokemon I have not seen in years at this point. So it is what it is. But I mean, these are some of the best of the year, man. Like there's so much to look forward to in 2025 as well. I know you guys touched on it last week, but again, kicking off the year with I was about to say Spy Family, Sakamoto Days, but there will be a new Spy Family season coming out. They have
Yeah,
or maybe even threatened us with the third season of One Punch Man. Um, so that is going to come out one day, hopefully, maybe Mappa. Um,
no one cares. I don't
nah,
care.
I don't shit. There is Demon Slayer movie coming out 2025. We're going to get the announcement for JJK Cullen Games, which I'm assuming will be 2025.
Mhm.
Um, We got Dr. Stone, and it's 3-part ending, which I'm like, what? Come on, bro. Like, just end the fucking thing. It's been done for years. Like, wrap it up. So we have Dr. Stone, we have
my
Lazarus.
unsung hero in Undead Unluck. I'm sorry. Like, I gotta just throw that in there.
God
It
bless
is what
you.
it is.
Yes, of course. We have assuming My Hero season 8 or final season or whatever the fuck they're gonna call it. We have
I
shit.
think Dandadan
Chainsaw.
season 2 got
Yeah, Dandadan season 2, summertime, I think, right? Or late summer?
yeah.
And then Blue Box is supposed to continue in 2025 too. Chainsaw Man the movie, which has been highly thing. It's supposed to. We've been waiting for Chainsaw Man the movie for almost 4 years now. Like season 1 came out in 2021. It's about
22. Me and AD checked last episode. 22.
Yeah, I thought the same thing.
well, it's about to come in 2000.
I mean, we pushing 3 years. I mean, at some point.
Yeah, it can't. But Mappa can only
We can
enslave.
only mop us so much.
Yeah, they can only enslave so many people. And but that is it. That is it. But we're looking for more to. I mean, there's Solo Leveling supposed to come back out. So Solo Leveling, I think, Carried Away is one of the best animes.
I think 2025 is shaping up. I mean, barring any type of delays or anything in production, 2025 looking better than this year. So I'm excited for it.
Yeah.
It is. So our best and worst should be very, very robust next year. I want to thank you guys for tuning in, but also stay tuned in because tomorrow or whenever you watch this, we'll be doing the best and worst of manga of 2024. We got a lot to talk about. This is for if you listening to the manga episode, you were tapped TF in. So make sure you tap into that. Thank you guys for tuning in, of course. Thank you for being on this ride with us for 2024. As we talked about JJK, we talked about One Piece, we talked about
Dragon Ball, Death Note,
Death Note, all these other things. There's so much more we want to talk about next year that we have to plan. But thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for continuing to support us over the last 7 years. Stay tuned because we still got best manga, and then later in the week we also got the best fights of this year, which is going to be hosted by J and D for Subsly Dubsly. So yeah, don't meet us there, beat us there. To look out. We'll see you guys soon.